Hello, my name is Paul Dommert. I'm currently an undergraduate at California State University, Monterey Bay. I'm second author on a two-phase study titled Understanding the Psychology of Transformation, a Mixed Methods Investigation into the Dynamics of Significant Psychological Change. The purpose of this study was to contribute to the academic understanding of the types of catalysts, processes, and outcomes of positive psychological transformation. This study was conducted under Dr. Nick Fortino and affiliated with Sophia University in Palo Alto, California, and the manuscript is currently under review at the Journal of Humanistic Studies. When Dr. Fortino and I first decided to pursue this research project, we were inspired by a study that was conducted over a 10-year span by social anthropologist Dr. Marilyn Schlitz and colleagues at the Institute of Noetic Sciences. While Dr. Schlitz's survey was quite expansive, we decided to design a more concise 17-item survey with the main aim of gathering data on types of catalysts of transformation. At its core, transformation is the process of significant and lasting change in an individual's way of being. Way of being refers to such factors as one's values, worldview, and mode of perception, along with mental, emotional, and behavioral patterns. To describe the changes as significant means they are noticeable to the individual and usually others. Lasting means that the changes stabilize into a new, enduring way of being. Attempts to delineate transformation are imperfect. It's an elusive concept, but there is a distinction between a transformative process and a formative process. The latter is a predictable developmental stage leading to an established, mature personality. Puberty, for example, is a formative process. Transformation is distinct from formation in that it refers to significant changes that were not developmentally inevitable or biologically driven, such as the way a person changes as a response to a major life event or a spiritual practice. Transformation is also different from the gradual, constant change throughout the lifespan. As our study participants understood, we consider transformation to be a process of accelerated change with a relative beginning, middle, and end. Although change is constant, phases get established. As posited by Goleman and Davidson, states can stabilize into traits. The prefix trans means beyond, so to transform means to go beyond the form you are in. Having clarified our motives and framework for this study, now let's talk about the first phase, the survey. Based on existing transformation research, we provided the following options for primary catalysts of transformation: an inspirational person, an inspirational experience, a psychedelic experience, a need to adapt to a new set of circumstances in life, a traumatic or otherwise emotionally painful event, and dissonance, which is defined as an experience of inconsistency within yourself, namely between beliefs and experiences, values and motivations, self-concept and actions, or words and deeds. Of 130 participants, only 2% of participants cited a psychedelic experience as their catalyst. It is possible that if this study is replicated with a more diverse population, that percentage may be at least slightly higher. We decided that an inspirational person and experience could just be considered inspiration, and 16% of participants reported inspiration as their primary catalyst. Both adaptation and dissonance garnered 18% of the responses, so those three catalysts were relatively close. Ultimately, the most frequently cited catalyst for transformation in our study was a traumatic or emotionally distressing event at 45%. Since the proposal of the study, the plan for phase 2 was to interview survey participants who chose the most frequently selected catalyst of transformation. Given that this was trauma or emotional distress, the focus of phase 2 of the study was on the particular type of transformation known as post-traumatic growth. We adopted the framework of post-traumatic growth laid out by Tedeschi and Calhoun throughout their research over several decades. In 1998, they qualified the vital changes of PTG into the following 5 domains: personal strength, new possibilities, relating to others, appreciation of life, and spiritual changes. This list informed our data analysis. 30 participants agreed to take part in phase 2 of this study, and Dr. Fortino invited 2 more researchers to aid us in conducting interviews. A 5th researcher, a statistician, used the chi-square test of independence to determine if the study variables were significantly associated with one another. The most significant link in the trauma group was between expressing oneself and a relatively settled stabilization of change. Interview data helped clarify what participants meant when they reported expressing oneself on the survey. It meant that participants expressed themselves to a trusted person about their trauma, and also it meant uninhibited, creative self-expression. Thereafter, Dr. Fortino and I cleaned and coded transcriptions of the interviews and employed the thematic analysis method. For the trauma group, solitude, empathy, and a personal therapist were the three most frequently chosen supportive factors. Another theme we saw in the survey data that was profoundly expounded upon in the interviews with the trauma group was a movement away from organized religion and toward a sense of spirituality instead. The dogmatic features of religion seemed to really push people away. Beyond that, we noticed that it was vital that there was a revealing or development of an authentic, true self that was necessary for the trauma group to proceed through their transformational arc. Since organized religion often encourages a blind faith in a higher power, it does not promote this kind of development. Something else that was unforeseen and revealed in the interviews was the theme of a series of traumatic events occurring, not necessarily one cataclysmic event. This was a very important finding because there were clearly different degrees of severity to the emotionally distressing events people reported, as we recognized that some participants seemed to be using the word trauma more loosely than others. Nevertheless, it seemed that the weight of a series of events can be as heavy as a singular seismic one. Additionally, the process of PTG can bring healing to many or possibly all past traumas. It's not a process necessarily restricted to the most recent trauma. So what do our findings mean? Well, the data in this mixed methods investigation of transformation strongly support the PTG model. The fundamental understanding of transformation as moving from an equilibrium through a disequilibrium to a new equilibrium of generally enhanced fulfillment is evident in these data. Each of the 5 aforementioned domains of PTG were also represented in the interview data. The evidence lends credence to the idea that a framework of transformation is important. We're advocating that the framework of transformation be adopted personally, professionally, and culturally. This framework can be understood as the inclination to interpret feelings of depression, anxiety, and general instability as potential signs of transformation. It contains the belief that the right, personalized combination of supportive elements can facilitate the process to a relative completion whereby an individual's way of being has changed in a significant, positive, and lasting way. Thank you for your time. Be well.